The whispers stopped the moment I walked into the gymnasium. 20 years after graduation, and I was still the guy everyone felt sorry for. Single dad. Abandoned husband. The man whose wife left him for her personal trainer while he was working double shifts to pay for her law degree. But what happened next would change everything. If you've ever felt like life dealt you an unfair hand, hit that like button. And subscribe to see more stories of incredible comebacks that'll remind you it's never too late for justice. I adjusted my secondhand suit jacket and scanned the decorated gym for a friendly face. My daughter Emma had insisted I attend our 20-year high school reunion. "Dad, you never do anything for yourself," she'd said, her 16-year-old wisdom cutting straight to my heart. "Plus, I can babysit Tyler for the night." Tyler, my 6-year-old son, was the unexpected blessing from the final reconciliation attempt with my ex-wife, Vanessa. She'd left again when he was barely 2, deciding motherhood was interfering with her career trajectory. "Mark? Mark Wilson?" A familiar voice called from behind me. I turned to see Dave Grayson, my old lab partner. "Dave. Man, it's good to see you. You too. How's life treating you?" Before I could answer, the room's energy shifted. Vanessa had arrived, draped in a designer dress that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. On her arm was Richard, the personal trainer she'd left me for, now her husband of 4 years. "Just great," I muttered, reaching for a drink from a passing waiter. Dave squeezed my shoulder. "Don't let her get to you." Easier said than done. Especially when Vanessa made her way through the crowd, air-kissing former classmates and laughing too loudly at their jokes. Her eyes found mine, and she steered Richard in my direction. "Mark," she said, her smile not reaching her eyes. "I'm surprised to see you here. Who's watching the kids?" "Emma's watching Tyler," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "Emma? She's what, 15? 16, I corrected. Vanessa raised an eyebrow. "Seems a bit young to be responsible for a child. But then again, you always did make questionable parenting choices." Richard snickered beside her. "My daughter is more responsible than most adults I know," I said, feeling heat rise to my face. "Well," Vanessa continued, her voice carrying just enough to attract attention from nearby classmates, "I suppose you do what you can with your limitations. Still at that little accounting firm, right? Assistant manager now?" The truth was, I'd been passed over for promotion 3 times. Not because of my work, but because I couldn't put in the extra hours with 2 kids depending on me. "I'm doing fine," I said tightly. Fine is such a sad word, isn't it? Vanessa laughed, turning to the small crowd that had gathered. Mark always settled for fine. I needed extraordinary. The humiliation burned through me as several people chuckled. 20 years later, and she could still cut me down with surgical precision. "That's why I left," she continued, warming to her audience. Mark was content with mediocrity. A small house, a small job, small ambitions. I wanted more. I stood frozen, the perfect target. Part of me wanted to tell her about the nights I spent helping Emma with her science projects after working 10-hour days. Or how Tyler and I built model rockets every weekend. How we might not have much, but we had love and laughter. But the words wouldn't come. Actually, a deep voice interrupted from behind me, "Mark is far from mediocre." I turned to see Gabriel Chen, founder and CEO of Chen Innovations, and inexplicably, my boss of 3 months. After my firm was acquired by his company, I'd been transferred to a special projects division but had only met him once during orientation. "Mr. Chen," I stammered. "Gabriel, please," he said, placing a hand on my shoulder. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic from the airport was terrible." Vanessa's eyes widened as she recognized one of the country's most successful tech entrepreneurs. "You know Mark?" she asked, her voice suddenly honey-sweet. "Know him?" Gabriel laughed. He's the reason I came to this reunion. Mark's the best financial strategist I've ever worked with. His analysis of our European expansion saved us millions. I blinked in confusion. I had worked on that project, but surely my contribution wasn't that significant. In fact, Gabriel continued, I've been trying to convince him to accept the CFO position for weeks, but he's hesitant about the travel requirements because of his kids. He turned to me. Which is why I wanted to discuss my new proposal with you tonight. We can restructure the role to limit travel to 3 days monthly. The room had gone completely silent. I didn't realize my work had made such an impression, I said honestly. Gabriel smiled. Mark, you underestimate yourself. Always have, from what I hear. Your former supervisor told me how you turned down promotions because they wouldn't accommodate your parenting schedule. That kind of integrity is rare. He turned to Vanessa, whose smile had frozen on her face. And you are? Vanessa Wilson. Well, Vanessa Trent now. Mark's ex-wife. Ah, Gabriel said, his expression cooling slightly. I see. The awkward silence stretched until Gabriel checked his watch. Mark, shall we discuss the details over dinner? My driver's waiting outside. As we turned to leave, Gabriel paused. Oh, and Mark? Emma called the office earlier. Tyler lost a tooth and wants to make sure you're home in time to see what the tooth fairy brings. I told her we wouldn't be too late. The look on Vanessa's face as we walked away was something I'll never forget. Not because I enjoyed her humiliation, but because for the first time in years, I felt seen. Truly seen. Over dinner at a quiet restaurant, Gabriel explained that he'd actually come to the reunion because he'd graduated from our rival high school and was meeting an old friend. Running into me was coincidence, but his praise of my work was genuine. I've reviewed all the financial analyses from your team, he said. Yours consistently show a depth of understanding the others lack. I just try to be thorough, I said, still processing the evening's events. It's more than that. You see patterns others miss because you're not trying to impress anyone. You're just trying to get home to your kids. By the time I returned home, Tyler was asleep, his tooth carefully placed under his pillow. Emma was curled up on the couch, waiting for me. How was it? She asked. I sat beside her, suddenly overwhelmed with gratitude for my life. It was educational. Did you see Mom? I did. Was she mean? I considered this. She was herself. But I realized something tonight, Em. What we have here, you, me, Tyler, it's not small or mediocre. It's everything. Emma leaned her head on my shoulder. Duh, Dad. We've been trying to tell you that. 3 months later, I accepted the modified CFO position. Gabriel had been true to his word about the limited travel. My first business trip, I brought back souvenirs for the kids and a newfound confidence in myself. Vanessa called shortly after news of my promotion made the local business journal. She suggested we reconnect for Tyler's sake. I politely declined. Success isn't about proving your worth to those who couldn't see it. It's about finally recognizing it yourself, and being surrounded by people who knew it all along. Like my children. And sometimes, unexpectedly, a billionaire boss who shows up at exactly the right moment. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content that reminds us all that our worth isn't determined by others' opinions, but by the love we give and the integrity we maintain. Sometimes, life's greatest victories aren't about getting revenge, they're about finding peace in knowing your true value.